Good morning, welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Thursday, January the 9th, and we're here to look at new releases that have been published this week. And on Thursdays, we look at fantasy and science fiction. Quick announcements, I do have sprints tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. They go for 2.5 hours. I do those 3 times a week. And every Tuesday and Thursday evening and Saturday afternoons. Good morning, Mary. Happy Thursday. A chilly morning here in Virginia. 15 degrees. Wow, you're colder than we are. We're 31, I think. Come to Montana. No kidding. Glad my furnace is behaving itself. Indeed. More snow this weekend, maybe. Well, you needed the moisture. I bet it's very pretty, though. We like to think so. All right, shall we hop in? Yeah, it was so warm. It was raining yesterday on top of the snow. Crazy. And I believe it was this time last year that it was negative 30, not the wind chill. But I will take this. Yes, thank you. It is going through the process. It is on its way out. Thank you. First up, Dark Hope by Christine Fien, part of the Dark series, book number 38. This is new. Silky Vreese Reinders knows a war is coming. The Demon Slayer has seen it over and over again in the cards, and the battle won't just be for the survival of her remote village, but for all mankind. Silky knows the only way to win will be with the help of the Carpathians, a fact that fills her with trepidation, as she is fated to be the life mate to one of the ancient supernatural warriors, bound to a complete stranger and responsible for his soul. Got to start to get to know him. One of the oldest, most dangerous Carpathians, Benedek Kovac, is more beast than man. Locked away for centuries, the only thing that has stopped him from becoming one of the monsters he's sworn to defeat is the thought of his life mate. That's healthy. When Benedek senses the impending danger, he sets out to find her before it's too late, but their enemy has laid a trap that pushes him closer to turning than ever before. For so long, Benedict has felt nothing. Now some dark art is compelling him to indulge in cravings he thought long buried. He has no hope that anyone can restore what's left of his tainted soul. But Silky is nothing like he imagined. Perhaps she's strong enough to fight back the darkness. Perhaps together they can defeat an adversary hell-bent on destroying them all. Ian has been cranking them out for a while. Indeed. 38. And if you figure probably one a year, I don't think more frequently like Nora Roberts as JD Robb, but wow. Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear, Wayward Children, book number 10 by Shauna McGuire. Giant turtles, impossible ships, and tidal rivers ridden by a drowned girl in search of a family in this book. Nadia had 3 mothers, the one who bore her, the country that poisoned her, and the one who adopted her. Nadia never considered herself less than whole, not until her adoptive parents fitted her with a prosthetic arm against her will, seeking to replace the one she'd been missing from birth. It was cumbersome, it was uncomfortable, it was wrong. It wasn't her. Frustrated, unable to express why, Nadia began to wander until the day she fell through a door into Belrica, the land beneath the lake, and found herself in a world of water filled with child-eating amphibians, majestic giant turtles, and impossible ships that sailed as happily beneath the surface as on top. In Belrica, she found herself understood for who she was, a drowned girl who had made her way to her real home, accepted by the river and its people. But even in Belrica, there are dangers and trials, and Nadia would soon find herself fighting to keep hold of everything she had come to treasure. Sometimes fantasy goes in weird directions. Doesn't make it anything less fantasy or a good book for people who like to read those. It just goes in some weird directions. All the Water in the World by Erin Kafal. Told in the voice of a girl gifted with deep feeling for water. Water seems to be the theme today. In the years after the glaciers melt, Nani, her older sister, and her parents and their researcher friends have stayed behind in an almost deserted New York City, creating a settlement on the roof of the American Museum of Natural History. The rule: take from the exhibits only in dire need. They hunt and grow their food in Central Park as they work to save the collections of human history and science. When a superstorm breaches the city's flood walls, Nani and her family must escape north on the Hudson. They carry with them a book that holds their records of the lost collections. Racing on the swollen river toward what may be safety, they encounter communities that have adapted in very different and sometimes frightening ways to the new reality. But they are determined to find a way to make a new world that honors all they've saved. Four Ruined Realms by May Cortland, second in the Broken Blades series. The king of Yusan may be the greatest liar of them all. His sister's ring is in his sights, and he will do anything to get what he wants, even manipulating the five blades to steal it. Bonded by a common enemy, then divided by deceit, the blades must rely on their skills to pull off King Jun's pursuit or risk his legendary wrath. A foreign rule of law stands between them and Quilimar, the queen of Catan. Now they have 1 month to steal the powerful golden ring of the Dragon Lord, but that impossible task might be easier than trusting one another, even though their lives, their families, and their realms depend on it. They can all agree on one thing: the king can't win, but can they beat him at his own game? Because for the Blades, this time it's not just personal, it's revenge. Lies may have torn them apart, but now vengeance will bring them together. And I will say again, that sounds healthy. Immortal by Su Lin Tan. The young heir to a mortal crown, Lian ascends a precarious throne when her grandfather dies, vowing to end her kingdom's obligation to the immortals and take vengeance against those she feels responsible for his death. When she is summoned to the immortal realm, she seizes the opportunity to learn their secrets and to form a tenuous alliance to safeguard her people, all with the one she should fear and mistrust the most, the ruthless god of war. As they are drawn together, a treacherous attraction ignites them between them, one she has to resist, to not endanger all she is fighting for. But with darker forces closing in around them and her kingdom plunged into peril, Yen must risk everything to save her people from an unspeakable fate, even if it means forging a dangerous bond with the immortal, even if it means losing her heart. Mother of Rome by Lauren J. A. Bear. The names of Romulus and Remus may be immortalized in map and stone and chronicle, but their mother exists only as a preface to her son's journey, the princess turned oath-breaking priestess condemned to death alongside her children. But she did not die, she survived, and so does her story. Beautiful, royal, rich, Rhea has it all until her father loses his kingdom in a treacherous coup, and she is sent to the Order of the Vestal Virgins to ensure she will never produce an heir. Except when mortals scheme, gods laugh. Rhea becomes pregnant, and human society turns against her. Abandoned, ostracized, and facing the gravest punishments, Rhea forges a dangerous deal with the divine, one that will forever change the trajectory of her life and her beloved land. To save her sons and reclaim their birthright, Rhea must summon nature's mightiest force, a mother's love, and fight. All roads may lead to Rome, but they began with Rhea Sylvia. and founded the city of Rome. Seeds by Angie Paxton. This is another Greek mythology inspired. Kore has lived her entire life under her resentful mother Demeter's shadow, trying her hardest to please a woman grown bitter by betrayal. With her self-esteem in tatters and deliberately isolated by her mother, it's no surprise that Kore is flummoxed when she meets a collection of otherworldly women, the goddesses of Olympus, who tell her that her mother is in truth a goddess herself. Kore tells them her preferred name, Persephone, and hopes they will not only have answers for her new questions, but the friendship and love she craves. Instead, an imposing and stoic figure emerges from a nearby cave on a magical chariot and snatches Persephone away. Upon realizing she's been taken by the underworld by Hades, who desires she become his queen, Persephone vows to escape. Demeter, enraged upon finding her daughter taken, goes to extreme lengths to reclaim her, putting the lives of all humanity and even the gods at risk. And that was very accidentally next to each other. Didn't intend to have two Greek mythology ones back to back, but there it is. The Capital of Dreams by Heather O'Neill. Sophia Bottom lives in Elysia, a small country forgotten by Europe, but inside its borders, the old myths of trees that come alive and fairies who live among their roots have given way to an explosion of the arts and the consolations of philosophy. From the clarinetists to the cabaret singers, no artist is as revered as Sophia's brilliant mother, the writer Clara Bottom. How can 14-year-old Sophia, with her tin ear and enduring love of ancient myths, ever hope to win her mother's love? When the country's greatest enemy invades and the capital is under threat, Clara turns to her daughter to smuggle her new manuscript to safety on the last train evacuating children from the city. But when the train draws to a suspicious halt in the middle of a forest, Sophia is forced to run for her life and loses her mother's most prized possession. Frightened and alone in a country at war, Sophia must find a way to reclaim what she has lost. On an epic journey through woods and raised towns, colliding with soldiers, survivors, and other lost children, Sophia must make the choice between kindness and her own survival. End of row 2. The Empress, a Towerfall novel by Kristen Cast. First in a new series by her. The Arcana aren't just figures in a tarot deck, they're real. Terrifyingly real. That's what I learned when I found a tarot deck in the snow and was yanked from my world into Towerfall. The first thing the people of this harsh, cruel realm did was try to kill me, and they probably would have succeeded if Cain hadn't taken me to his hideout in the woods and nursed me back to health. I don't know if I can trust him. He's too hot to be good news. He's definitely hiding secrets, and I've already seen him kill 2 people to protect me. If I hadn't just been helplessly dumped into his world, the blood on his sword and his dark, brooding mood would have had me running in the opposite direction. But right now, convincing the Kingdom of Pentacles that Cain and I are married is my best chance at getting into the palace and back to my own world. Because there's something wrong with Towerfall, something deeply, deadly wrong. And if anyone finds out Cain and I aren't really husband and wife, well, then both of us are dead. Or they could just make you get married. True. The Starlight Heir by Emily Howard. His Imperial Majesty King Zarek requests your presence as his esteemed guest. When the gold-dusted court invitation arrives at Surya Saab's forge, she believes it's a joke. Nobles might seek her skills as a bladesmith, one of few who can imbue her work with precious jadoo, the last source of magic in the realm, but she has no qualifications as a potential bride for the crown prince. Still, the invitation is the chance at adventure and the means to finally visit the capital city her late mother loved. But what awaits her in Kaldari is nothing she could have imagined, and fraught with danger. It's not the crown prince, but his impossibly handsome, illegitimate half-brother, Roshan, who captures her interest and her ire. The invitation isn't a quest to find a suitable bride, but a veiled hunt for the Starkeeper, a girl rumored to hold the magic of the stars in her blood. And across the city, unrest is brewing between the noble houses and the rebel militia. When the rebels attack, Surya and Roshan find themselves on the run, trying to deny their simmering attraction and the knowledge that Surya herself might be the Starkeeper. But Roshan is guarding secrets of his own, and with no control over the power stirring within her, Surya has drawn the attention of a dark god, an immortal whose interest might be the biggest threat of all. Excuse me. A Language of Dragons by S.F. Williamson. It's set in an alternate London of 1923. Dragons soar through the skies and protests erupt on the streets, but Vivian Featherswallow isn't worried. She's going to follow the rules, get a summer internship studying dragon languages, be smart, be sweet, and make sure her little sister never ever has to risk growing up third class. She just has to free one dragon. By midnight, Viv has started a civil war. With her parents and cousin arrested and her sister missing, Viv is brought to Bletchley Park as a codebreaker. If she succeeds, she and her family can all go home again. If she doesn't, they'll all die. Wow, way to pick from 100 years of British history. As Viv begins to discover the secrets of a hidden dragon language, she realizes that the fragile peace treaty that holds human and dragon societies together is corrupt, and the dangerous work Viv is doing could be the thread that unravels it. And I apologize, I did not click on the tab. We shall gaze upon that for a moment. A Conventional Boy, a Laundry Files novel, 13th in that series, by Charlie Stross. In 1984, Derek Riley was just another spotty teenage dungeon master growing up in Middle England, but then a secret government agency tasked with suppressing magical intrusions received a tip-off, and one midnight raid later, his life was turned upside down by the satanic D&D panic. Decades later, Derek, now middle-aged and institutionalized, is a long-term inmate at Camp Sunshine, a center for deprogramming captured elder god cultists. He's considered safe enough to edit the Camp Blues newsletter, and he even has postal privileges, which he uses to run a play-by-mail game. After 25 years, Derek finally has reason to escape a nearby D&D convention. While Derek's D&D games were full of fictional elder gods and world-ending threats, a LARP game at the con is a dread ritual designed to summon a great evil into our world, and it's up to Derek and his players to stop them. The fate of the world may depend on the contents of Derek's magic dice bag. Our receptionist plays D&D. Yeah, she's 62, and she and her husband and friends play D&D. Several times a month. End of row 3. But she's not a reader, so she would not be interested in that. An Enchanted Night by Hildy McQueen. Gwen Lockhart has a rare and powerful gift. She helps lost spirits find peace and cross over. When she takes on a job at a beautiful Scottish castle, she expects it to be like any other. But when she encounters the ghostly presence of Lord Tristan McRaney, a knight who died centuries ago, something feels different. Drawn to him in ways she can't explain, Gwen begins to wonder if Tristan is not a ghost at all, but a man cursed and trapped in time by dark magic. Lord Tristan McRaney has been imprisoned for 300 years, bound by an evil wizard's spell along with 4 of his fellow knights. When Gwen enters his world, he's certain that she holds the key to breaking the enchantment. Confident that he can make her fall in love with him and sacrifice whatever it takes to free him, Tristan has no doubt the plan will work, but what he doesn't expect is to find himself falling for her first. And as their bond deepens, the cost of breaking the curse may be higher than either of them imagined. Speaking of, that reminded me, next month in February, there is a readathon being hosted by Stormy at Storm Reads and Sarah at the Bookish Knitter. They do this every February. It's retro romance, so Mary, you might be interested. And so they do have some prompts if you want to check their YouTube, but you can also read as you like. And the only rule is retro is published 20 years or earlier, which at this point is 2005, which is disgusting, or earlier. So you can read those big dresses, shirt-losing guys to your heart's content in February and be a part of a readathon. D&D has been around for a long time. I can remember when it started long ago and far away. Who knew it would succeed this long? Indeed, I wanted to learn. I could never find anybody to play with me. And the alarm is about to go off, so we'll stop here. We'll stop at Breath of the Dragon. So we'll have 4 more to go through, probably tomorrow. So, easy peasy. Indeed, hard to imagine 20 years is considered retro. I know. They all say it. They go, I know, 20 years, but that is sort of the rule of thumb. Last year, I read a couple category romances from a line that only lasted a couple years called Flipside, but it had humor to them. The category line itself was humorous. So I read a couple of those. This year, if I do it, I'm thinking of, this is my year of reading the Chunky Monkey books. So I've always meant to read Whitney, My Love by Judith McNaught, because that is a Chunky Monkey book, and that's why I've avoided reading it. And it's on Kindle Unlimited, so this might be the year I read Whitney, My Love. We shall see. All right, so tomorrow, Friday, Freeform Friday, we'll be looking at some of the stuff that we didn't get to. I think there was one mystery we didn't get to. There's the 4 fantasy here. I think we got it to all the romance. Maybe there was one there. But we'll pick up the danglers and we'll see if there's anything else that looks interesting being published this week. Again, I do have sprints tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. They go for 2.5 hours. I apologize. I'm in Mountain Time Zone, so that is 6 o'clock my time. I work until 5 o'clock. I get here as quickly as I can after work and walk Keo real fast. So it is a start time of 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I like Judith McNaught. Haven't thought of her in years. Indeed. If you really go back prior to the 20-year mark of 2005, there are some amazing, you can even go back. You can do Barbara Cartland's, Georgette Heyer, all those old Harlequins. Of course, the big names like Nora Roberts and Janet Ivanovich, and all those started writing category romances in the 80s. So there is a lot. That's why this retro romance readathon is a popular one for them. But I am still doing the historical mystery, the Midwinter Hist Mist readathon this month, and it's only January 9th, so you have time if you want to try to read some historical mysteries. Mary says, thanks so much. Hope you have a great day and hope to see you and maybe Rosanna's live. Oh, that's right. That's today too. Is it this afternoon? Yep. Work interferes with my leisure life. Mary, stay warm. As I say, you are colder than we are at the moment. Have a good day. And as the banner says here, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom, nom, nom. Have a good day. God bless.